Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Today, doing a full tank review on the MT-25. You can see it here in the garage. This is a Russian Tier 6 light tank, and it is known for its speed, 72 kilometers per hour. It's got a pretty good auto loader, several choices for guns we'll get to in a second. And with all of these curves and whatnot, you will actually get a few bounces even though it is very lightly armored. Let's take a look at the tech tree and show you where we're at here. Coming through the A20 T34, the light line here is the MT25 LTTB and T54 lightweight. If you enjoy tanks that fly around the battlefield, can get in and out of trouble, and you don't keep yourself in trouble, but all three of these tanks are just great tanks. I guess I don't really need to say anything more than Russian bias. So T54, T62A, and even the Object 140. These are all really good tanks. So this is a must-play line. MT25, I can see a role for it in tournaments, especially supremacy tournaments. So with that being said, let's take a quick look at the characteristics. And like I said, there are several choices for guns on this. Start with the 57 millimeter, was actually not bad. And I'm going to go in a little bit more detail, so I'll just run through these real quick. You know, if you just want to go straight up the line to the LTTB, you're going to go through the 76 millimeter S54. Obviously, if you want to play this tank a little bit more, you've got two auto loaders down here, the S20 and S10, and I'm going to cut away and do talk about those here in a second. But you can see, I want to just point out the armor here, 45 millimeters all the way around. The other thing I want to point out is the turret traverse speed at 58.8 and the whole tank traverse speed at 58.9 seconds. And where is it? View range 281, so that's what I'm talking about as far as being useful in Tier 6, and then obviously the speed limit there is 72 kilometers per hour, 660 hit points. So let's take a quick look at how I have this set up. Obviously, light tank, you get the light tank mechanics on the move or stationary, all the same. Repair kit, multi-purpose, and instead of adrenaline, because we've got the auto loader, we're running the engine power boost. Provisions, running improved fuel, extra combat and protective kit. Ammunition here, you can see a lot of AP, 90 rounds, 20 rounds of APCR, 10 rounds of HE. Don't forget, guys, premium is purchased with credits, not gold, so use that button on the right there. And then equipment, just real quick, Tier 6. I'm running improved vents because with the gun that I recommend, the S10, you do have good penetration numbers. If you switch over, let me just make sure I got that right. Yeah, the S10. If you do use this S20, then your pen numbers are not as good, and you'll probably want to go with the calibrated shells. I am running the defense system as well as improved optics, and you can see that adds the 25 meters to get us up to the 281. And the you can see the vents also help. Without vents, it's 275. With vents, we're 281. So if we did move into the bottom categories, I would probably go with supercharged. This tank can do a little bit of sniping. It's got fairly decent accuracy for the gun. Plus, with its speed, you can relocate on the battlefield pretty easily to get to sniping positions. And then I would probably run with the approved assembly, get those additional 55 hit points, because 4% of little is still very little, so you're not gaining a lot with that one there. And then I would probably run with the engine accelerator, just because you want to be able to get up and move as fast as possible, and the traverse speeds here, which is primary improvement of the improved control, are already very good. Then maybe if you wanted to just go in with either the vertical stabilizer or the refined gun, but to me, neither one of these are required. Nor anyway, none of the bottom line is there, so I would stay away from those. So let me take a quick look at the guns, and then we'll compare it to the other lights. Alright guys, here are the 4 guns that are available for the MT25. Starting on the right is the first gun that you get. You can see it's got a really nice DPM, but the problem is with a reload of 2.5 seconds, you are exposed all of the time while you're shooting. And keep in mind, you've got penetration there of 112 millimeters. You've got tanks like KV-3s out there that have more than that, even on the sides and back of their turret. Gonna have about 90 millimeters on the sides and back of the tank itself. So you pretty much got to be perpendicular to those type of tanks. So anything that's angled, you're not gonna pen. Moving up to the S54, you can see that pen number increases to 125. And you probably want to run with calibrated shells on that, just to get it over 130. And you are doing 160 damage per shot, which is kind of in line with some of the other light tanks. And your reload's 5.5 seconds. So this is a very nice gun if you just want to run straight through to the LTTB. And then there's also 2 options for the autoloaders. And there's an 8 shell, but it's only got 105 millimeters of pen, which I find really difficult and hard to play. It does have a very nice 2000 DPM, and you think about if you're doing 55 alpha times 8 shots, you're well over 400 damage per clip. That's a hefty number to be putting out for a light tank in a very short period of time. But the gun I like the most is the S10, and that's because it comes with 130 millimeters of pen. I can run vents with it, and I'm doing 90 alpha on it with 4 shots, so you're talking 360 damage, which is also pretty good. And so that's a quick summary there. You can see really not a lot of difference between aim time and dispersion, and our gun depression is -6 degrees. Alright guys, just real quick with the comparison of these light tier 6 tanks. You can see here that our damage per minute is above all of these other tanks, which is one of the best features. I do recommend the AMX-12T for tournament play, just because you get 3 shots times 160 damage, but just a little bit less with this gun setup on the MT25. Now, there's not a lot of difference between these tanks, other than you can see at 72 kilometers per hour, we are basically the fastest non-premium tank. The Type 64 is a premium. And then we've got a little bit more armor than most of these other light tanks. They're coming in at 45 millimeters, where some of these other ones are in the mid-20s and 30s. So keep that in mind as you're playing this tank, and we'll quickly jump into some gameplay to try to keep this review a little bit shorter. Alright guys, first game here, Winter Malinovka, and you can see they've got 3 TDs. They've got a couple heavies and a light and a medium, and our SU-100Y calls right, and Pincer Clan, so I know he's a good player. So I have no problem with that call whatsoever. We've got 1 heavy, 3 mediums, 2 TDs, and me as the light tank. So you can see here, I'm going to push hard around the corner and try to get spots as fast as possible. I feel like this will stop them from pushing too fast. So you can see I get 3 of the 4 shots to go into that Type T-34 for 250 hit points. And we're getting some good spots here going around this corner, so just trying to be careful. And we are gonna get, looks like 3 shots, 360 hit points into the Leo there. So that's one of the nice things with this tank and the autoloader. You can see we did trade shots, but then as we're backing up, we get hit from behind, and that came from this Dickert Max here. And I'm pretty stupid at this point in time, because I forget this guy has got incredible gun depression, and he gets shot number 2 into me as I'm just sitting there. So part of the reason that I put this video first is because I think it's a great example of what you can do with this tank. So I've already gotten out front and spotted up most of their team. If I wasn't spotting them, somebody was near me. But we've got to the corner. Now basically I am just waiting until I drop off radar, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 72 kilometers per hour and I'm going to relocate. Obviously I'm at 1 shot for just about everyone on this tank. I mean on the opposite team outside of the Leo, but obviously he can finish me in a hurry. So T-150, their heavy, is sitting right up there near the entrance to the frozen lake. So we're just going to pull up here and wait for our aim, switch over to APCR and take 1 shot and get the kill there. Now it is 5 on 3, 4 on 3. And you can see this Dicker Max, he is playing this hill just perfectly. Probably one of the best maps for that tank. Our TD there, I'm not sure why he pushed around the corner, but now it is 3 on 3. Obviously, I'm a 1 shot to any one of these tanks. So there's the SU. He gets taken out. We are up a tank now. We'll get a little bit of revenge here on the Dicker Max and unload almost a full clip, 245 into the side of him. And it's just me and the SU-100Y who actually called the right call. So now using my speed, he's telling me to cap base, but I think I'm better off trying to spot for him. And so we're going to ease around the corner here. We're not going to rush around. We're going to go very slowly. And we're going to see if we can't get a spot. Now, keep in mind, we've got a light tank, light camo. We do get spotted, unfortunately. But in the process, we've lit up the Dicker Max, too. So I'm not going to poke out there. If I get shot, you know, it's pretty much game over, probably. But because I'm distracting them, our SU-100Y can get his shots in. SU-100 on their team turns, and we're able to get 200 hit points in. And I just want to keep him spotted. I want to keep him distracted. If he comes my way, I'm turned and I'm ready to burn out of here. But I see he's now focusing opposite direction, so 300 hit points. And if he's going to keep following me, you know, I'm not going to try to be a hero here. Just going to let the SU-100Y get his 5th kill and finish it off as a survivor, and really helping out the team with my light tank skills there of getting around the map and doing spotting, because that's really what this tank is all about. So 1654, not huge damage with the tank, is pretty good. But obviously the SU-100Y there will give him an effective player for getting those 5 kills. So the next game here is Oasis Palms as a supremacy game, also top tier. And just looking at the makeup, they have a lot of light tanks. And looks like a heavy and TD there. So heavy, medium, and a lot of lights. So I'm expecting them to be out in this area. And I'm ready just to peel back and turn around, but I push very hard, you can see, through the dunes there to get some spots and get some early damage. Kind of was expecting my team to at least be at C by now and have capped that, just because it is very secluded and you can cap it easily in the dunes without being spotted. So there's the first guy sitting in C, and we're going to go join him. We'll wait and cap this out. Trying to just back up the hill. Backed up a little bit too far and got out of the cap circle, which was a mistake on my part, but it's capped now. And I figure they were all turned and looking at that one guy that was sitting at A. So unload a clip here and into the Nash horn, and he gets finished off. So a little bit of a trading shot situation there, but that's okay. We got him out of the game. See the gun carrier here coming through, and he quickly backs up as soon as I start shooting him. But we get 3 shots to go. There's a Sherman Firefly over here, and just waiting for him to make a mistake and step around that building, and we do get the kill. See if we can see that gun carrier. No, he's back behind the building. So two tanks down each side here, and that Hellcat is going to take the rest of the clip. And again, we're just backing behind the hill and just playing very cautiously, using these dunes as cover and waiting for the red team to make mistakes like this Jagdpanzer as he comes rushing forward. And so we get a clip into him, and as you can see there, that gun carrier bounces us. You will get several bounces in this tank just due to the rounded nature of the armor. And we get 2 of the 4 shots to go in there, and we're down a tank at this point in time. But we've conserved our hit points. We've only taken 1 shot really at this point in time. So there's a Leo. I can finish him off on 1 clip. Was hoping he would make a mistake, but obviously he's coming in on the SU, trying to finish him off. So we get behind him, and there's our kill shot, and not sure why that didn't work, but he gets finished off, and we take the W. Doing 1680 in damage. It was good enough for a level 2 mastery badge. And basically in that game, you know, we used our speed to get out early, to get some early spots, and then we didn't rush into trouble. We waited for their team to get spotted, and we used those dunes as cover to allow us to unload our clips. Alright guys, so here's bottom tier on Middleburg, and I'm looking at their lineup with 2 heavies, a medium, 2 lights, 2 TDs. And you know, our team calls up, so I know I've got support, but TDs and the heavies are going to be on the bottom. So I'm thinking there's a good chance they're not going to be too aggressive pushing, so I am going to be aggressive. And that's one of those things, you know, a good player really looks at the opening lineup and makes that decision of, you know, should I be aggressive or should I be conservative? So we were able to get some early shots into that T-37 there. And one more as he's crossing by. And you can see these guys are doing a pretty good job of getting hull down other than that Hellcat. When I see this T-37 over here, so I'm going to make my move and go after this T-37. Here comes the heavies through town, and we finish him off. We're going to clip reload here, and I'm going to go after this heavy because I think he's solo. And this is one of these things, it's almost a helpless feeling when you're in a light tank. Well, when you're in a heavy and you're getting circled by a light. If you're in a heavy and you're getting circled by a light, this is a helpless feeling. You can see he almost gets pretty close here, but we can empty a full clip. Look at this, 400 on that clip right there. Now, what he would have been smarter to do is drive towards the building and not give me access all the way around him. But obviously not a top-of-the-line player here. And this is when I noticed KV2's right behind him. So I'm probably a one-shot. So let's go ahead and, well, 336, he's got the smaller gun. So let's go ahead and circle him. Now he's going to try to reverse course. So we will too. And you can see here, one of the fun things about being a light tank is just CODing a heavy tank, which this tank absolutely shines at. So quick game there, 2251 in damage, 2 kills, and sorry about the sound. My iPad's acting up and not recording sound right now, so we'll have to give it a good reboot and see if that doesn't fix it. But anyway, fun little game there, and just an example of what you can do in a light tank against heavies with this gun and the setup. So I'm going to throw this game in here as top tier, and this is with the S20 gun. And keep in mind, top tier S20 gun, we've got just over 100 mil of penetration, but we do have 8 shots in our clip. So we're going to come to this spot in the middle of the map under the bush and just wait, be patient, try to get some spots and see what this team is actually doing. So far only the KV2 is spotted, and you can see here with that KV2 just slightly angled, I can't even penetrate him. Another downside is I don't have time to unload those full 8 shots in the clip, just because he was aiming at me and would probably kill me in 1 shot. So, you know, this is my example of why I don't like this gun. But you can see this team is full on in the desert here, and it's nice to unload a clip like that and get most of those to go and just get just over 300 damage. However, the pen on it is just not good enough in my opinion. Do get a nice little lucky bounce there, and you can see here angling on that sloped VK. Even though it looked like it should be able to penetrate, it doesn't. Obviously that VK was leaning backwards, had the slope, so a lot of effective armor there. Another slope target, and we do get 350. So to be honest, with the number of bounces you're getting, it really is about the same as the S10 gun. 322 in the back of the VK there. You know, and just keep in mind that this is again top tier. This is not against those heavies. We're bouncing shots off of a medium type 58 there. So, you know, just a word of caution that, yeah, that DPM looks really good, but in game you're not going to get it. So just waiting for him to come around here. We'll take a shot and enough to finish him off. And you see that 460. I mean, and we still had 2 shots in the clip there. So those are the numbers you can roll with that tank, but it's just few and far between, in my opinion. So take it for what it's worth. Not my recommendation. Alright guys, last game I'm going to show on Dead Rail as bottom tier, and want to just stress the fact that you are a light tank. You are not built to do high damage in this tank. If you do have a good damage game, then great, that's all the more better for you, but your job in a light tank is spotting, using your speed and finding out what the enemy team is doing and using that to help the rest of your team. Now, if you can see here, I've rushed into the middle of the map. Look where the rest of my team is. They're still in spawn. And so, you know, obviously you've got to be aware of that. And so far, only the Sherman has been spotted on this side. And yeah, I was going for the kill there. But I also realized that I couldn't stay in the position I was at based upon where my team was. I've done my job. I've spotted up most of the team, and we've gotten a couple kills, and we have a 2-tank advantage. So the second part of driving a light tank like this is to use the speed and to flank. So they're all focused on the guys still sitting in the cap area. And here is a Tiger P a tier ahead of me, and I'm getting shots into the side of him. So I don't know how many damage points. He drops off, which is at 421 here. We'll see. We'll get 4 shots in, and he's now at 167. So most of those shots penetrated, and you know, so we've got a 2-tank advantage, and so we're just going to circle around and use the tank speed to get to weak points on these heavies. And there's the KV2 there. We just need to find a flat spot. We can use our 6 degrees of gun depression and unload a clip for 273. And you'll notice here coming up, you know, you've got to be very careful about staying exposed too long. I know he's looking at me, and with a nice roll from him, he could one-shot me. So, you know, I get 3 shots in, and I decide, you know, it's not worth that one last shot. So I'll back up and reload. And what happens here is, you'll see, I end up getting the kill because of it. So he gets distracted, and I get 2 more shots in there for my first kill of the game. But in essence, you know, we were very important to this team. We're top on the team in experience points, even though we weren't in damage. And you can see 900 there on spotting, 133 there on spotting from assistance. So we got 4 good spots, and that all goes to helping your team, and really is the crux on how to drive a light mobile tank. Once you're spotted, it's time to relocate, plain and simple. Use your mobility to relocate, get behind tanks. You might not have the most damage, you might not have the most penetration numbers, but you can still help your team in other ways. So hopefully you guys learned a few things here, and I didn't really cut the length of this video down, still 28 minutes. But anyway, guys, hope you learned a few things about the MT25 and light tank driving. So as always, guys, stay safe out there, have fun. This is just a game. As always, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.